was having some technical difficulties, but wanted to get on here and go over the championship games, guys. I'm pretty excited for these. Obviously, my Broncos are in it. Um, Pretty devastating, honestly, that Bo Nix is injured. Um, he fought his way this whole time to get in there, and then he gets hurt. Um, it's crazy. It's unfortunate, but it happens. So uh, I wish him a speedy recovery. I think I said that before. Um, but I personally have confidence that Jared Stidham can go in and get this job done. I kind of watched him some in the preseason. Think I might have watched some training camp footage and stuff like that. And I actually think he's a good quarterback. I really do. And from what it sounds like, I don't think Sean Payton's lying. I think he's telling the truth that he probably could be a number one quarterback for another team. And I guess we'll find out. I mean, this is a tough spot just to be thrown into, but some of these other quarterbacks we've seen in the league, he might be coming to take their spots. We'll find out. I don't know, but right now, I hope he can get the Broncos to the Super Bowl. I really don't want to see the Broncos in Seattle there because they've been there before, and Seattle smoked the Broncos, and it was not fun as a fan. If you remember back when they had the Legion of Boom. But that was a long time ago, and the Broncos fixed their defense. They went back, then they won Super Bowl 50. How cool it would be to go back to Super Bowl 60, but nevertheless, you guys aren't all Broncos fans probably, so let me know in the chat who you're rooting for. But I personally will be rooting for the Denver Broncos. And probably the Rams. I think I'd rather see the Broncos play the Rams because I don't recall that being a game that's been seen too often before. So, but anyways, let's go ahead and go over the NFL DFS stuff, that side of things. So, first off, right off the bat, my favorite quarterback is Matthew Stafford. And I don't like the matchup for any of these quarterbacks, but Matthew Stafford, he's got 5,269 pass yards this season, 49 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 21.6 average fantasy points per game. But he has played Seattle before, and I think Seattle's a very tough defense. But he's got Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams, and he's Matthew Stafford. He's a veteran. He knows how to stay calm. The guy has played through some crazy injuries in the past. It's kind of nuts, to be honest with you, some of the stuff he's played through. But in Week 16, they played Seattle. He had 33.9 fantasy points. And that right there is why I'm going to play him. They also played in Week 11, however, and he only got 13.2 fantasy points. So that doesn't sound too exciting, the first game, but I think it'd be more like the second for this championship. So I like him. I like Drake May, but I don't think he's going to get as many points against my Broncos. I know a lot of you are probably thinking I'm wrong on that. And I think he's played outstanding. I will say this. Rookie quarterbacks tend to somehow get in the Super Bowl in this league. Someone pointed that out to me once, how many times rookie quarterbacks go on their rookie contract, and then they start making money, and somehow they don't end up going back for a long time. But anyways, the Broncos are seventh in pass yards allowed per game. They're 10th against the quarterback. They're second and rush yards allowed per game. And we know Drake May is willing to put the ball under his arm and take off and run. Um, but I'm not sure that he will be able to get a whole lot of yards on the Broncos. So just want to say hi to Sean, someone I'm actually seeing in the chats here. And guys, feel free to chime in on there if you'd like to. This is only like my third or fourth live video. And honestly, I'm recording it on my phone. I'm reading the chats on an ancient computer that's a bit slow. So if I'm behind, I apologize for that. But glad to see you here. And yeah, let me know what you think of Drake May. But I don't think he's going to be the top guy this week. I think it's going to be Matthew Stafford. Sam Darnold, I actually don't hate in this spot. He got 21.5 fantasy points against them in week 16 against the Rams. So he can throw against them. I mean, he showed that, but he also, when he played at Los Angeles, only got 8.3 fantasy points. So, but this is going to be in Seattle. I would imagine it's going to be very, very noisy there. As it was in Denver the other day. My goodness. It's hard to imagine how any of these players could play in those, but part of me wants to play Stidham just for the heck of it. I mean, probably because I'm a Broncos fan, but what if, guys, he just goes out and proves everyone wrong, sticks it to his old team, and has a great game? What if? Don't think that I see that happening, because I think New England has had one of the top. Really, all of the defenses that I thought were top have stuck in it in this game. I thought the Broncos, I thought Houston, Seattle, New England, and honestly the Jaguars, I thought they had the best defenses in the league. I know the Browns, towards the beginning of the season, somehow were looking good, but it seemed like they kind of fell apart as usual. But I don't really know if they ever got started as a team, but their defense did okay. Anyways, moving on from the quarterback, I got Matthew Stafford there. I guess I didn't go over Jared Stidham's matchup, but New England is, maybe I did, I don't know. They're 8th against the quarterback. They are 9th in pass yards allowed per game. I just don't think that I want to go there. Yeah, Matthew Stafford. Now we got running backs, and running backs is where it really got kind of tough for me. I know the guys that I like, but these matchups are tough. Kyron Williams, I like him a lot. I feel like last year he seemed to I feel like they used him more or something. His numbers don't seem to be as good as they used to be, I guess is what I'm saying. But he's still a great running back. Seattle's 4th against the running back. They are 3rd in rush yards allowed per game. They only give up 92.6 on average. He averages about 16.4 a game, so he doesn't have a very high average anyways for a starting running back. So I would be okay with sitting him and not playing him. And I think I actually might not play him. But he is one of the preferred running backs on this slate for me. He's one of the top. I guess I can't say that now, because Henderson's been doing phenomenal too. Stevenson's actually he's been doing good as of late. And I've always liked Kenneth Walker. He hasn't done as well, it seems like, this season, but he definitely has had some games, one of which was last week. He had 38.5 fantasy points when they absolutely stomped the 49ers, which was sad to see because I wanted the 49ers to win that game. You guys know that, and I was way wrong on that one. My aunt was a 49ers fan. Might have been an emotional pick on that one, but I really, for some reason, was thinking after last week's game that they could actually win that, and I was way wrong. Originally, I thought Seattle would, and then I changed it up, said San Francisco, and they got smoked. But anyways, when these two teams played before, however, Kenneth Walker had 28.4 fantasy points. First time they played, he had 20.1. So he got over 20 fantasy points in both games that these guys have played against each other. So I think I'm going to play him this week. Matchup wise, doesn't look great. Rams are 12th against the running back, 12th in rush yards allowed per game. So it doesn't look fantastic, but I think I'm going to play him just because of what he's done the last two times they've played. And originally I had Kyron Williams, but I think I might change that up. I would love to play Ramondre Stevenson, but I hate this matchup against my Broncos. They're first against their running back, second in rush yards allowed per game. I wouldn't doubt it if he got some goal line work. I think one of these running backs will probably take one in the end zone at the goal line or something. But I don't expect too much from these guys. So I don't think I'm going to play Henderson. I don't think I'm going to play Stevenson. I don't think I'm going to play RJ Harvey here. I think the Broncos are probably going to try to use these running backs a lot. I know I was really hoping that J.K. Dobbins would be back for this game, and there was a lot of talk about it, and then it ended up not happening. But I was expecting him to be back, kind of, and that didn't work out. So I had more hope for the run game when that was still a possibility. Now that it's not, man, I think it's going to be tough for the Broncos. New England's third against the running back, sixth in rush yards allowed per game. I don't know. He only averages 12.2 a game anyways, so that would make me want to pick Williams. I think for salary reasons, I'm actually not going to. I think I actually might play Jaleel McLaughlin. I think Jaleel could actually be used quite a bit in this game. I think they should use him quite a bit in this game, to be honest with you, but I don't know that they will. He only got 4 attempts last week and 1 target. But for salary reasons, I think I may pick him or possibly the backup for Charbonnet because he's out. Charbonnet's not playing in this game. When they played the last time, he had 17.4 fantasy points, and he had 6.7 in week 11. I actually might play Charbonnet's backup instead, which is it Helani? I thought Helani was out of this game. I'm looking at the wrong game here, but no, it is Helani. So he is back. I think I'm going to play Helani here. Him or Jaleel, but I think I'm going to go with Helani just for salary cap reasons. And that stinks to not play Williams, but I think that Helani could still have a good game here and get a lot of usage. Charbonnet's been getting a lot. And I actually did a short on Helani back at the beginning of the season because I thought he was looking pretty good back then. And then he kind of faded out. Then he got injured. They didn't play him a whole lot, but I think I had liked his pass catching abilities. And you know what? I can't say that because I'm not seeing too many targets his way. Maybe it was after the week 3 when he had those 2 targets in that game. I don't know, but I still think I'm going to play him just for salary reasons because there's no way I don't play Puka Nacua. You guys can make the argument, and if you want to, please do. But I just don't see not playing Puka Nacua this week. He's been outstanding. And he still had 10 targets in the last game. He had 18 targets in week 19 against Carolina. The thing is, Seattle was 3rd against the wide receiver and 10th in the pass yards allowed per game. So it's not really a great matchup. Uh, but if there's, what am I saying here? If there's a better receiver out there right now, let me know. I mean, talent-wise, yes. I think we could say Jamar Chase. He's so flippin' talented. Let's see, got Justin Jefferson. But these guys haven't done as much this year. Maybe Chase, but Puka Nacua, I just think right now, I think it's hard to say that he's not one of the top dogs, if not the top dog. He's at least top 3 right now, I would say. But Jackson Smith and Jigba is the other one, or one of the other ones. Honestly, he's kind of right there with them. The Rams are 24th against the wide receiver. They are 19th in pass yards allowed per game. If you want to see what he did against them before, in Week 16, he had 23.6 fantasy points. In Week 11, he had 23.6 as well. So 23.6 in both games against these guys with a great matchup. I think he would be a player that you need to play this week. I don't see why you wouldn't play Jackson Smith and Jigba. I'm going to put him in there right now. I'm going to put Puka Nacua in there right now. And then I feel like from here, it could be a bit challenging, I feel like, because I feel like you have to find now that one guy that could potentially go off. I don't see any of these players necessarily making a huge impact, except maybe Devontae Adams. But you guys know that means jack squat, because at any given time, one of these guys could go off and probably will. The question is, which one is it? There's a lot of these players that are capable of it. Cortland Sutton, I would say, has a pretty okay matchup. I don't love it at all. New England's 12th against the wide receiver, 9th in pass yards allowed per game. But he only averages 13.1 fantasy points a game. And if you look at his game log, he only got 4 out of 9. He caught 4 out of 9 against Buffalo, which, Buffalo's got they had the number 1 pass defense. So I guess that's saying something. That could be why, but I still just don't think they use him ideally, I guess. But Stephon Diggs, also not a great matchup against the Broncos. They're 7th against the wide receiver, 7th in pass yards allowed per game. I don't like Stephon Diggs against the Broncos. Out of all these, I like Devontae Adams the best, but I don't love this matchup. But let's see what he did against Seattle when they played before. Week 11, he only got 7.1 points. And then in the Week 16 game, he didn't play. He must have been injured in that one. So I guess we don't have anything to go off of there. But as far as guys I would trust the most, it would be Devontae Adams. An elite wide receiver, veteran, has been here a while, and they know they can count on him. Booty has had some games this year that were pretty good, but I don't expect that in this one against Denver. Any of these guys against Denver, Denver's secondary is phenomenal. I mean, Pat Surtain, I would say the best in the league right now at his position. So they're going to try to get air yards on these guys. I think they're most likely going to have to use Hunter Henry to get a law. I'm not saying they won't get some passes off. That would be ridiculous to say with the way Drake May's been playing. But I think the Broncos secondary could hold these guys. Let's see. What else do we have? Anyone like Shaheed here? Just kind of curious. He only saw 2 targets last week against San Francisco. He only saw 1 target in the 3 games before that. Week 15, he had 7 targets. So He's got a great matchup, but I don't see him doing a ton. He got 9.1 when they played in week 16. Week 11, he got 4.9. So I think he's got the potential to. What did Cooper Kupp do in those games? Week 16, he got 7.9. Week 11, he got 5.3. I don't expect him to do a ton there. Or based off that, I guess I don't expect him to get a ton of points. Who do you guys like? I'm not going to lie to you. I kind of like Pat Bryant and Marvin Mims here, because if the Broncos are they're going to cover up Cortland Sutton, Troy Franklin, who is questionable, mind you. If you plan on playing him, he is questionable with a hamstring injury. So you'll have to check somewhere, make sure he's going to play if you want to play him. There for a while, I liked him, but more than Sutton. But I'll tell you what, before Bryant got injured last week, I told my wife, I said, this guy's going to get 7 or 8 passes in this game. And I think he got 3, like, in the first few minutes of the game before he got injured. So he was still able to get 6.2 fantasy points, 3 targets, 3 receptions, 32 yards. I like Pat Bryant. I like Marvin Mims here. You saw what Mims could do. 8 targets, 8 receptions, 23.3 fantasy points. He had the touchdown. But if Pat Bryant was in the game the whole time, do you still think that would be the case? I personally do not think that would be the case. So, just looking over, seeing if there's anyone else I like. Whittington had his 2 targets, 5.5 fantasy points. Personally, I think right now I'm going to put Pat Bryant in that last slot. And I better end this video because it's starting to get long. 22 minutes we're at now. But looking at tight ends, I definitely like Hunter Henry here because I think they're going to have to rely on him. Broncos are 21st against the tight end, but they need someone to pass to. And I think he's going to be their best shot against the Broncos. Parkinson has a good matchup. Seattle's 23rd against the tight end. What did he do in their games previous to this? Week 16, he only had 4.1. Week 11, he had 9.4. Nothing to write home about. Tyler Higbee in those games. Week 16, he didn't play. Week 11, 3.3. Ferguson, this guy has got some targets. I've kept my eye on Ferguson, actually. He got 5 targets in the game against the Bears. So don't rule this guy out. I think he could get some points. He got 12.3 against the Rams in Week 16. Week 11, he didn't get any, but keep your eye on Ferguson. I think he could be a guy to watch for sure. And I wouldn't blame you if you played him. I do think the Broncos should try to get the ball to Evan Ingram, and I think they will try to get the ball to Evan Ingram, especially with Stiddy in there. So New England is 20th against the tight end. I probably just said that, but I looked at the chats and kind of spaced out on you. Barner has an okay matchup. The Rams are 17th against the tight end, but he has not been living up to his potential, I feel like, this year. He did get 15 points in Week 16 against him, though. In Week 11, he got 17.1. So I actually did make a lineup that has A.J. Barner in it. I do not blame you for playing him, but if I'm picking, I'm probably going Hunter Henry as number 1, Evan Ingram as number 2, Barner as number 3, and Ferguson as number 4. I think that's how I would rate it. I'm not sure. I do feel like Barner could get could get some usage in this game. But for salary-wise, let's see. If we put Hunter Henry in there, that doesn't leave a whole lot. But we still do have some salary remaining. And I think I have a plan here. But Seattle against the Rams in Week 16, they only got 2 fantasy points. Week 11, they only got 2 fantasy points. And that's probably... Well, that's actually pretty good. The Rams are 3rd against the defense, so that's holding pretty solid against them. I'm sorry, not fantasy points wise. They did kind of bad fantasy points wise, but I'm saying, let's see here. They actually lost that game, so no, I guess they did do bad. I'm looking at it backwards here, guys. They lost, let's see, the Rams won in Week 11, and they lost in Week 16. So Week 16, Seattle's defense, no, they got smashed. If I'm looking at the score here, they got smashed. They gave up 37 points in that game. Even if they won, they gave up 37 points, so that's not good. And then in Week 11, they gave up points there as well, 19. So, yeah, I would not go with the Seahawks defense this week personally against the Rams. I don't believe. The atmosphere tells me you should pick them. The 11.1 on average tells me you should pick them, but I don't think you should pick them. That's my own preference. You do what you want. The Rams in those weeks, they had 6 fantasy points against Seattle, but they gave up 38 points in that game. Week 11, they gave up 21 points. They still got 9 fantasy points in that game, so they did get some. I don't personally recommend them this week either. I'm going to go, I think, with my Broncos. They average 8.6 a game. They're cheap, so even if they play bad, at least you went with the cheapest defense. And you can open up some salary. But I think that they could actually hold New England in this game. I really do, if I'm being honest with you. A lot of you probably don't believe that, and a lot of you probably think New England's defense is going to tear it up against the Broncos, especially with Jared Stidham. I don't agree with that. I think the Broncos are going to be able to score on these guys. It's in Denver. It's going to be freezing, which that's not new for the Patriots. They're used to freezing anyways, but I think the Broncos are still going to win this game. This video is getting very long, guys. I apologize. I am going to end it here. I'm going to go with the Broncos as far as defense goes. And then I think for this last flex spot, I'm actually going to throw Marvin Mims in this spot. Or I'm going to go with a Barner, maybe a Cup, Cooper Cup, that is. But I think what I'm going to do is go Marvin Mims here. So, anyways, I appreciate you guys watching. I apologize it goes so long. I'm kind of sporadic. A little bit different doing these live than it is just pre-recording them and putting them on. Kind of leaves you more vulnerable a little bit. But I do appreciate you guys watching. I wish you the best for your season. Or not your season, but for the... this weekend for your games, your lineups. I hope they do good. Get back on the channel. Let us know if they do good. Get on and brag about it if you want to. But definitely appreciate you watching, and I will talk to you after this week for the Super Bowl. We will be going over the Super Bowl lineup, and that's crazy to think about because that means time has flown by as usual. But hey, I will catch y'all later. I appreciate you watching. Thank you so much. Thank you for being a part of the channel. And I will talk to you for the next one. Bye.